All right, guys, Marc from parkflyers.com. Today we're looking at a very, very special car. This is a first look at the Bigrock 223S for 2025. This is a heavily revised car for the new year. It has a lot of improvements over the old Bigrock, and this, in my opinion, is a sweet spot in the 3S line. This car retails for $349.99, comes in three colors: a dark green, dark blue, and black. Now, let's go over one of the coolest new things of the car. A lot of people are not talking about it. I don't know why, but that's the body. Now, the body, they put a lot of work into the body. There's a ton of injected parts in this new body, including folding mirrors, which are really nice. You have, look at the bed here in the back. All of these parts also add to the structural durability of the car. On the underside of the cover, all the plastics are made into supports. Ingenious design by Arrma. This is a clipless design, but it also is one of their best because within this clipless design, you have small guides that help you plug it into the body easy. There's two levers, one in the front, one in the back. They're very tactile when you push them in. They also look really good. Again, this is definitely one of the best looking monster truck bodies that I've seen in a long time, probably ever released. It takes cues from the 6S version, and it just takes it to the next level. I think it even looks a little bit better than the 6S due to some of the details and also the simplicity. I like it better than the 6S because it's not as heavy and it's not as complex. They kept it a little bit more simple, and that basically lowers the weight, which means it's not going to really tax the car that much as far as performance. Speaking of performance, this car comes with a 3100 kV brushless motor, extremely torquey and powerful. It'll propel this car to just over 50 miles an hour, which is perfect, and we really think the speed is incredible. Now, what makes this stand out from the rest is the size of the car for the price. For $349.99, you're getting a car that's probably 25% bigger than a standard 10 scale car, so it's longer and it's wider. It has a much higher perceived value, and I'll tell you what, this car, because of its size, is so much more stable than the typical monster truck. A lot of the monster trucks have short wheelbases. They do the flippy thing where they, constantly flipping over on their lids. This will pull up nicely because of the torque, and then it'll just drive stable. Now, it comes with DSC to add to the stability, but in my opinion, I would shut it off. You really don't need it on this car. It's so stable and it's so incredible that you just shut the DSC off and drive it and enjoy the car. It is absolutely phenomenal. It's one of the few cars that doesn't really need many upgrades out of the box. There are upgrades for this car, but again, they're not really 100% necessary. The car is really satisfactory out of the box. It comes with the same SLT3 radio for this year. It's a nice radio. It's adequate, nothing great and nothing wrong with it. It's got 3 speed settings, 50, 75, and 100%. And it's got all the dials that you need on it for performance. It has dual rates for the steering, which is really nice touch. On this car, you want to dial back the dual rates a little bit because if you have too much steering, it's not going to be so stable. So you dial that back about 20% and the car drives a lot better. Again, as far as the speed control goes, it's an all-in-one unit. It's got the receiver built into it. I'm not a fan of those just because some people want to bring their own radio. If you don't want to bring your own radio, you're going to have to get a new speed control and then hook up a separate receiver. Now, the speed control that comes with the car is an 80 amp speed control. We didn't find it to overheat at any time. It's adequate and it's very smooth. Now, the speed control is programmable. You can actually adjust the brakes, punch settings, and all that stuff. I like the way it comes from the factory. If you want stronger brakes, obviously you can dial it in. The servo that comes with this is a metal geared servo, 239 ounces of torque. It's adequate and the speed on it is really good. Now, a really cool upgrade for this car is the Proline Power Stroke shocks. Couple of things that I like about them. You have the front shock guard here, which is really nice. You have 2 different types of springs. You have a shorter one that is really soft, and then the longer one is really hard. So basically, this will soak up really small bumps really nicely, because what happens is you compress the shock. You'll see that the softer shock compresses first, and then the second stage is shock below it, and that'll handle the really hard jumps and all like that. So it ends up being really smooth, and I think this is a major upgrade. One of the nice things about the Power Stroke, it has an aluminum threaded body. It has it's basically a big bore shock, so you have additional damping from more oil in this. Also, when you have a piston moving against an aluminum casing here, it's going to have less friction, and it's actually going to have a nicer action, especially with the titanium nitride shock shaft here, which is coated and actually designed to be much smoother. So overall, this is just a much better shock that comes with the car, and it's a massive upgrade for the Bigrock. I've upgraded the previous versions of the Bigrocks for many customers, and every one of them said how amazing the power strokes are on that car. So again, this power stroke shock is one of the few upgrades that you would want to get for this car. The other upgrade I want you to look at is the aluminum bell crank. Basically, it's going to avoid having a crack. Sometimes if you're a person that jumps, or you just drive the car a little rough, you're going to crack that plastic bell crank. Putting in this little metal piece for $10.99, it's definitely worth every penny, and I would look into it. All right, guys, so one of my favorite upgrades for this car are the upgraded Proline tires that we have here. These are the Mickey Thompson Baja Pro X. Now, this is one of the most overlooked tire for the Bigrock. It is absolutely incredible. It has an unbelievable tread on it, really nice Proline compound, and it really has a very high quality and a really nice drive with the car. People have bought this in the past for my recommendation. Unfortunately, people don't come into the store looking for them just because a lot of people don't know about them. They're slightly taller and they're slightly wider than the stock Ragnarok wheel. If you put it next to it, it's just slightly taller. It's got much nicer tread, and it is slightly wider. Now, when you put them on the car also does have a wider stance. Really nice tire. Again, this is definitely going to enhance the performance of your car, and they look absolutely phenomenal on the car. So beautiful tire. Again, it's the Proline Baja Pro X. Not many people, like I said, know about this. This tire and wheel was actually specifically developed for the Bigrock by Proline. On the bag, it'll tell you for the Bigrock. So it's a beautiful tire. You should definitely look into it if you like performance and you like off-road grip. All right, guys, so I want to talk about one feature that the Bigrock has that not a lot of people are talking about, and that is the way that the body integrates to the chassis. So what Arrma did was they actually designed the body to basically lock into the chassis, and basically it doesn't allow any air to get, excessive air I should say, to get under the body and into the chassis and disturb the airflow of the car. What the benefit of that is, first of all, it keeps debris out of the car. The second thing it does is when you're jumping the car, especially big jumps, the air doesn't disturb the attitude of the car. So the car jumps really, really good. The first example of that was the Moha 4S. Everybody knows that to be an amazing jumping car, but a few people know it's because of the aerodynamics. So basically, you have raised edges all around the chassis. You have flares in the front right here. The flares stick up and they block the airflow. And the chassis, this body here just locks into the chassis and seals it on the sides. And basically what you're getting is, I mean, it's not completely airtight, but it's mostly airtight. And it's blocking a lot of that air from causing parachuting. End result, the car jumps incredible, and it is definitely a great feature of the car. Obviously, the second benefit is it keeps debris, mud, and water from accumulating in the chassis. It's going to save your electronics and preserve them over time. Anyway, brilliant design, and we love it. All right, guys, another feature of the car are the brand new bumpers, front and rear. If you look at the front bumper, look how that extends side to side. It actually covers a lot more area, and it's much bigger than the previous bumper on the older car. This is going to be really good for protection. It also adds to the visual scale looks of the car. Another benefit is the body actually extends below the bumper and it locks in, so it does block airflow on the front of the car from getting into the chassis. Really nice design. All right, guys, here's a look at the rear bumper of the car. It's obviously much nicer than the previous generation Bigrock. Also integrated into the bumper is a spot for the wheelie bar wheel right here. It looks like there's a screw space to accept a screw that holds the wheelie bar wheel. Now, we haven't seen this part released yet. We will keep you posted and let you know how that performs. Anyway, it's a nice touch, and it makes it a lot more simpler design. Another cool feature of the car is now they include metal ball studs for your turnbuckles, and that's going to really add to the durability, and also it's going to prevent slop in the future. The plastic ball studs wore out very quickly, and then at the end of the day, you basically had a lot of slop, and you had to replace them all. On these, you're not going to probably have to replace them very soon because they're very durable, and they're going to wear in a much better way. Thank you so much for joining us for the Bigrock 223S first look. Stay tuned for some running footage. We're going to show how this thing jumps, and we're going to show how the thing handles. It's going to be a really good video with me talking in the background. Can't wait to release that. Anyway, like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one. Have a great day, and see you next time.